I, an overlooked Omega, accidentally became the Alpha's partner, turning the rules of this hunting game upside down. The missing piece, Luke Payne. The companion that never left my side. The feeling that always reminds me I'm still alive. The presence that has seen me at my worst. My split knuckles healed almost instantly, leaving only a bloody splatter on my hands. I stare at the sad spectacle of a punching bag indifferently. It's the third today. If I continue like this, I'll have to get more of them imported here. Wiping my blooded hands with a towel, I leave the gym and start for my room. A tide of sounds crashes over me, but I've had enough experience with the Lycan's high-10 ed sensors to know how to tune them out willingly. In a matter of minutes, I reach the familiar space of my room. The faint scent of gardenia flowers and rain reaches me, momentarily soothing my nerves. I walk over to my desk and pick up the file I've been working on from the past few days. The Alpha's Hunt. I've managed to trace all the maps they ever provided their participants. All of them are different, but there are some loopholes that keep repeating. And if I can manage to find ways to tackle them, I have this game in my hand. While I scribble away my options and approaches on a paper, the door opens. I look up, immensely irritated that someone should come in without knocking, and even more irritated when I see who it is. Luke, baby? Darky quickly reaches my table. Why aren't you talking to me? I raise an eyebrow. Why are you asking? She looks desperate. Luke. Honey, try to understand. You didn't find your mate. So what? A low growl escapes my throat and I clench my hands in fists. 5 years. For 5 whole years I've been forced to look for her. Going from one pack to another. Training with them only for one chance to know if she's there. If I will find her among them. Darky, I say with extreme self-control, we should not speak in matters that do not concern us. But it does, she says, her grey eyes swirling with emotions that she has no right to feel for me. I love you. I can be your Luna. You know I can. Why do you need some random girl? This time the growl that leaves me is in no context low. I shoot up from my chair, palms flat on the wooden desk. And can you fix me? She flinches. I narrow my eyes at her. To my agent extraordinaire, Madeline Nilban. Heartfelt thanks for your unfading patience, enthusiasm. Infuriated, losing my patience. She's living in a fantasy world where love fixes everything. Where it's the supreme form of happiness. For fuck's sake. Luke, I answer. I cut her off. Can you fix me? She stares at me for a few moments. No. Leave. She takes a step forward. I hold up my hand in a gesture for her to stop. This conversation is at its end. I say leave. She glares at me but turns to her heel and goes out. I rub my temple. A headache pounces on me. In lycanthropes, soulmates fill a part of your heart. Life and soul. They complete you. But for me, a soulmate means much. Much more, and still I can't find her. What if she doesn't exist? The question that's been coming up in my head so often comes barging in again. Well then, if I can't fill the missing piece of my soul with love, I will choose the next best thing. To my agent extraordinaire, Madeline Nilban. Heartfelt thanks for your unfailing patience, enthusiasm. The door knocks. I mutter a come in, before picking up my pen again. Work isn't going to wait for me to sort out my non-existent love life. The door clicks open, and the scent of gardenia flowers and rain swirls over to me mixed with the scent of mud. I look up as Hazel comes inside and my eyebrow lifts. She's dripping wet. Hair and clothes clinging to her body and muddy splatters all over her. I had sent her to the residence of the Pack Warriors where a false delivery had been placed and I wanted that book quickly. How did she end up like this? Do you mind if the book is a little wet? She asks me what. I stand up from my desk through the open door. I see Casper. He stops at the door and gives me a confused look. Hazel pulls out the book from behind her back. Also dripping wet. She hands it to me but I only push it back. It's going to drip over my desk. I say with a scowl, how did this even happen? You see, there's a bridge in the way to the Pack Warrior residence, she says. I nod. I quickly reach the house. I found the book despite the very uncooperative people there, and I was coming back as soon as possible. It was so tempting to walk over the railing of the bridge I couldn't help myself, and when I started walking over it, I lost my balance and fell, and then I got wet. But you can still read the book. You only have to dry it. Maybe with a dryer. If you have a dryer, or you can ask someone else. My voice cuts through her rant in animated gestures. Yes. For the first time ever. She looks a bit guilty. Shut up. She blows up her cheeks like a blowfish and gives me a look. And she's back to normal. You're excused. I sit back down and take the book with you. Give it to me when it's dry. She turns around only to freeze in her tracks. Casper gives her amused smirk, leaning against the door frame with his arms crossed. To my agent extraordinaire, Madeleine Nilben, heartfelt thanks for your unfailing patience, enthusiasm. He says to me as he comes in. The preparations are almost finished. Good. Looking out of the window at the bright blue sky. The crescent moon is tomorrow night. All the lichen hacks in America will be coming here for the ceremony. All those people. Maybe. Beta. A familiar voice pulls me out of thoughts. Can I ask you a question? Go on. Casper grins. Still amused. How long did you have to wait in the doorway? For 5 or 6 minutes. He says why? Nothing. Hazel squeaks out and rushes to her room. Casper bursts out laughing, taking full advantage of the fact that the walls are soundproof. I can kill to have someone like her as my assistant. He says to me, how can you not find this funny? Doesn't your assistant do stand-up comedy? Keeping my eyes on the paper I was writing on. Nope. All she does is scream silently every time I say her name. Casper says, by the way, why don't you call Elise by the name? I stop writing and look up at him. He's staring at me intently with his grey eyes. My cardiac organ jumps. I ignore it. Saying her name, even if only in my head, gives me a strange sort of nudge, like something is missing, and I have enough things to deal with right now. No particular reason. I say dismissively. For a while we sort out a strategy for the hunt. Mostly, it's the beta who gets spared with alphas on the hunt, and I'm fairly sure Casper will be my partner. A familiar rich aroma fills the air, and soon I find myself looking at a familiar short female with the brightest gold eyes I've ever seen. Hazel holds out the now dry book for me. I take it with a nod. Her golden gaze flickers to Casper and then to me. You didn't tell me tomorrow night is the ceremony, she says to me before quickly adding, sir. I raise an eyebrow. I was going to tell her that tomorrow morning. Who told you that? Oh, I ran into Ethan while I was going to get the book, she says. A spark of anger flickers in my head. Yes, the ceremony is tomorrow night. A hint of irritation leaks into my voice. What else did he tell you? Nothing important. She shrugs, but I doubt that's all he said to her anyways. I'm going to get myself some food. Do you two want anything? I shake my head. Casper also declines. When Hazel leaves the room, he turns to me. Alpha Ethan is a bit too fond of her, don't you think? I nod. You shouldn't let her wander around alone. Look, especially not around the warrior's residence, he says as he stands up to go to his room. Being a werewolf already puts her at disadvantage. Though he makes a perfectly logical reasoning, I can't help but be a bit surprised. Why are you so concerned? I ask. His eyes go wide and he blinks. Hey, I'm innocent. I was just being a good guy. I believe you. I say sarcastically. You broke my heart. To my agent extraordinaire, Madeleine Nilben, heartfelt thanks for your unfailing patience, enthusiasm, he says dramatically as he leaves the room. I open the book Hazel had given me and flip through the pages until I find one that reads the title I'm aiming for. The Alphas are cream. 9 by hook or by crook. I can't sit still. All those lichens. To my agent extraordinaire, Madeleine Nilben, heartfelt thanks for your unfailing patience, enthusiasm. Tomorrow, and one of them can be my mate. And then I can put into action my life plan of escaping this stinking pack. I might find him tomorrow. My soulmate. My escape. Is it a bit mean that I want freedom more than unconditional love? Me H. People wish for what they want the most. And I want freedom, baby. Finally, I leave my room to go to l'Untamed. To my agent extraordinaire, Madeleine Noble. Heartfelt thanks for your unfailing patience, enthusiasm. I take a turn around a corridor and come face to chest with someone, barely stopping in time not to collide with it. Ethan raises an eyebrow at me. I mimic his expression and then giggle like an idiot. Well, I don't know about anyone else, but if I keep running into the same person, I'll find it funny. Which I do. Hello, Elise. He smiles at me. I grin widely. You look excited. Like hell I am. I nod with enthusiasm. He chuckles. I might just find my mate tonight. Ethan only offers me a small smile. It doesn't reach his eyes. I'm hoping to meet my mate, but it would be a little. To my agent extraordinaire, Madeleine Noble. Heartfelt thanks for your unfailing patience, enthusiasm. I'll be leaving for the hunt just after that. Don't worry. I pat him on the shoulder. Everything's going to be amazing. I'm sure of it. Thank you. I'll see you at the ceremony then. He says, and I'm sure I'd recognize you. I raise an eyebrow. He thinks again. You know, it's a mask ball to make things more interesting. He says, see you there. He goes around me and walks away. Right. I have to be somewhere too. Only a couple of steps later. I have to hide behind the wall. I peek ahead to see a familiar blonde. Bothering Omega. No. Darky throws address at Flora. It's not good enough either. BB, but it's the one you selected. Flora mumbles, well, I've changed my mind. Darky yells, go get a better one. Avoiding both of them, I turn to the opposite hallway and walk away as quick as possible. Soon enough I find myself in front of a door. I take a deep breath. Here goes. I knock. Come in. A feminine voice says. I enter the room cautiously. It's even bigger than Luke's room. There's a king-sized bed against one wall, a dresser near it, then a door which no doubt leads to the walk-in wardrobe. The windows are open, letting natural light inside. The theme colors are cream and white. Yes, Luna Faye is sitting in an armchair, a magazine open on her lap. Luna, I bow my head respectfully. I want to ask you something, if that's all right. She raises an eyebrow at my perfect behavior and then nods. I go inside and close the door softly behind myself. Then I take a moment to gather my words. Tonight is the Alpha's hunt ceremony. Yes, Luna nods, but I notice the tension in her shoulders. All the participant lichens from America will get paid tonight. I nod, keeping my face respectful, even though she's never been very nice to me. She's a mother and she's worried about her son. I wanted to ask you, I say softly, if the Gazer can come to the ceremony too. What? I stare at Luna's now stern face. She stands up, nostrils flaring. My neck muscles start to itch. My eyes start to burn, but I grit my teeth and hold my ground. And Omega's place is not in parties. Her voice is softly poisonous. An Omega is not fit for this. But you were an Omega once. She hates acknowledging that fact. Word is, she was treated very bad before she found Alpha JX. Hell, they say her pack won't even let her go after she found her mate, and she had to run away before Alpha JX could start a war with her pack. And yet, she treats us no better. She's always reminded of her bitter past and she takes it out on us. Why not? I blurt out. Because Gazer are not allowed. Luna Faye glares at me. Now go. I have other things to attend to. Holding back a growl, I leave her room. This is not over. Not yet. I'm going to get the hell out of this pack, by hook or by crook. As I storm back to my room, I can't help but think how long this will go on. How long will Gazer be treated like this? Yes, we aren't as powerful as alphas or betas. Yes, we aren't as skilled as warriors. Yes, we aren't random people of the pack. But we are part of the pack. We are just as loyal, just as protective, just as important. We don't want anyone to worship us. We don't want to be special. We just want acknowledgement. We want to be treated as everyone else. You can think of Omega Whites later. I tell myself, right now you need to think of a plan. After thinking for God knows how long, I groan into my pillow. Think. You're running out of time. My eyes swim to my wardrobe and an idea lights up my head. My lips slowly curl into a smirk. I'd like to see how anyone stops me from going. Luna. Drunken balls, I've lost my mind. Not today. I lost it quiet some time ago. You see, when you still have some logic or sense in you, you think of the consequences, the risks, and funnily enough, you give a shit about them as well. But when you've lost your mind, you don't give a shit anymore. I creep along the hallway, my eyes now used to the dark. Make out the door of Darky's room. Luckily, Luke didn't come back in the room today. Otherwise I'd have to climb down my window, and I'm not a fan of climbing. I sniff myself again, making sure the perfume covers my scent, and nod in approval. My hand closes around the cool metal of the door handle. Slowly, cautiously, I turn it. Click. The room is enveloped in darkness. I see a figure on the queen-sized bed. Quietly, I make my way towards Darky's walk-in closet, praying neither Darky nor Flora wake up. I start looking for the dresses in there, scattered around as though a ravenous animal had looked through them. Too vulgar, too flashy, too short, too big. Well, if I am planning on doing whatever it takes to find my mate, I should make a good first impression. Shouldn't I? But seems like fate has other plans, since I can't find anything that will look good on me. Darn. Why does this licensed female only has clothes I'd never wear? In enthusiasm, in my frustration, I let out a silent scream and grab a dress, ball my hands in it and shake out all my anger. When I'm done, breathing as soundlessly as possible, I drop it down only to see something under the pile of clothes. Something that catches my eye. I pull the dress out and hold back a gasp. The soft pink material flows in my hands as the puffy evening gown unfurls in front of me. Curly white beads are scattered along the neckline and skirt. Grinning like an idiot, I tuck the dress under my arm and waltz out. Your sense of fashion isn't all that bad, Darky. I'll give you that. When I pass by Darky's bed, I see the side table laden with masks. I snatch the first one in my reach. I leave Darky's room, feeling victorious and giddy. Rushing to my room, I peek in to see if Luke's there. Seeing no one, I rush inside and into my room, where finally I start jumping around, squealing like an idiot. I call Aspie on my bed, dress clutched to my chest, a dreamy smile on my face. My world is going to change. ACHUU. In my hurry, I had failed to notice that the mask I grabbed has 2 white feathers tucked on one side. And I'm allergic to feathers. Goddess? After all I'm doing, I mutter and fix my mask again. My mate should be the king to make it worth it. Thought I know I will love him with all my heart, no matter who he is. A girl can dream, right? I cast another quick glance at the mirror. My hair is in an elegant CHIG and on. The makeup light and well done, and the dress makes me look older than I am. But the best thing is the shine in my eyes and the smile on my face, real happiness. I leave the room. A frown tugs at my lips. Luke still isn't back. Where is he? Did something happen? An unfamiliar weight on my heart makes my eyebrows furrow. I shake my head. Don't think about him. Think about your mate. Luke will be fine. Everyone has already gone down. The gazer are in their rooms, away from the party downstairs. I take a deep breath and start towards the stairs. I look down in the hall. My heart beats 100 times per second. My mind races 1,000,000 miles per breath. My eyes search the heads I can see, but I don't feel anything. A thread of fear coils around my heart. Don't be so ridiculous. Go down and look for him. He'll be here. All these lichens and all these werewolves they've invited. My mate has to be somewhere among them. I start descending the stairs. All eyes turn to me. My breath catches in my throat. I wait for someone to point me out and scream imposter. But no one does. They simply stare, gazes ranging from curious to lusty. My feet start moving. 20 steps. The tremble in my hands stops. 15. I hold my chin high. Then my confidence rises. My lips curve up in a smile. I sneeze. Perfect timing. Humility. Just perfect. I slip backwards, catching a glimpse of the surprised looks of the crowd. My body braces itself for the impact, and then suddenly the wind gets knocked out of my lungs, and my mind starts spinning again. I feel something tightly coiled around my waist. My hands flat against something hard that feels like. To my agent extraordinaire, Madeleine Nobel, heartfelt thanks for your unfailing patience, enthusiasm. My eyes fly up to meet stormy blue ones, staring down at me with enough intensity to drown a battleship. Luke is dressed in a dark blue suit, the same color as his eyes, a velvety black mask concealing his face. He leans down. My eyes become the size of the moon and my heart squirms in place, hyper-aware of his lips against my ear. What are you doing here? A deep voice hisses in my ear. I pull back as much as his grip would let me and look up at the stormy blue eyes boring into my own. I give him my brightest smile, finding my mate, slipping out of his hold. I turn around as if nothing just happened and ignore every pair of eyes looking at me suspiciously. I look around the hall, keep my senses sharp. Eyes peeled, but I don't see him. I don't feel my heart swell with happiness. I don't find a scent that would drive me ecstatic. Come on, mate. Where are you? A man rushes past me, and at the same time a girl pushes through the crowd. They lock gazes, and I feel the air grow heavy. To my agent extraordinaire, Madeleine Nobel, heartfelt thanks for your unfailing patience, enthusiasm. I watch with a smile as the man folds the girl in his arms and kisses the top of her head. Watch as the girl closes her eyes, smiling softly. My smile turns rueful. A dull ache of longing grips my heart. I look around again. My heart starts sinking as the realization hits me like a brick in the face. He's not here. A hand falls on my shoulder. Hope cuts through me with painful intensity as I whirl around only to have my eyes locked with crystal blue ones. This time, disappointment almost makes me cry out loud. Ethan looks back at me. Not my mate. Elise. His eyes instantly cloud with worry. Are you upset? Me upset? I shrug off his hand. Sarcasm drips from my voice. Of course not. This is what my neutral face looks like. He cringes. Not the best question. Brilliant observation. I mutter. I guess you didn't find him. He says softly. I sigh. Can relate. I didn't find my mate either. I feel hopelessness course through me. My lips tremble. I clamp them together. What sort of a party is this? My voice normal despite my parched throat. Is there anything to drink or what? There is, but. Perfect. I grab Ethan's arm and start dragging him along with myself. Take me there. Only chocolate and wine can soothe my broken heart. Elise? Think for a moment. Ethan says. Though he keeps walking, many lichens and werewolves don't find their mates. It's not all that bad. I turn sharply to face him. For an alpha. Maybe it's not. But for me. Ethan runs a hand through his blonde hair. I vaguely notice the white suit and mask he's wearing. When he looks at me, I see a pain of hurt in his eyes. You really think I don't know what these people treat you like? He says quietly. I avert my eyes. The looks your pack gave you the first time you put your hand out to shake mine. The way the beta's daughter pushes you around. How Luke barely lets you talk to anyone else. Ethan puts his hands on my shoulders and takes a step forward. You think I don't notice? His eyes soft almost. Pitiful. My hands curl into fists. My jaw tightens. I level him with my steel-eye-esque glare as I step away. Don't. The burn of my voice surprises even me. Don't pity me. I'm better off without it. Ethan's eyes widen. He opens his mouth to say something, but my feet already turn around and take me away. I don't want his bloody sympathy. Mate or no mate. I'm not some damsel who needs saving. I don't need a stupid shoulder to cry on. Yeah. Because you want a whole man. I groan out loud and bump into someone. He turns around and raises an eyebrow. Holy Mother Earth. Carlos mutters a curse under his breath. Had hell no weight. I'm not going to ask what happened. The look on your face tells me you only need one thing right now. Carlos puts an arm around my shoulder. I look up at him, thanking my stars that at least I have my best eye here. You're the best. I mumble, quickly rubbing my glassy eyes dry. Carlos doesn't ask me anything, and I'm sure he figured it out. He lets me devour everything I can find until I stumble upon a bottle of champagne. Elise, that's a bad idea. He says you've never been drunk before. It's going to mess you up. Everything worth doing starts from a bad idea. I say and pour myself a glass. I'm not letting you, Carlos. Another pack warrior comes, they come along. The ceremony is starting, but I wiggle my fingers at Carlos as the man drags him away, towards the stage. Now no one can come between me and my drink. The liquid leaves a burning trail as it goes down my throat, but I relish it. I stare at the stage, where all the participant helfers stand. The skylight's open. The letting crescent moonlight inside. I watch with curiosity as the moonlight focuses on the first alpha. He kneels down, muttering something. The light swims from him towards the crowd and lands on a man. Everyone claps. The two men shake hands. Partners. I pour myself another glass, ignoring the stupid ceremony. I drink until my mind feels numb and I can't think of lifetime labor anymore. I drink until I can't imagine about my damned mate anymore, and drink until my guardian angels appear as mini Elises and warn me not to take off my mask and pick up a second bottle. PTTSS. I try to wave them away. I'm fine. You think happy juice was invented for chemistry bar? It was invented for champions to drink when they're feeling down. She's hopeless. My good angle says to the bad one. Hopelessly smart. I take a swing from the bottle. Who needs a bloody mate? I'm gonna escape this damned pack on my own. As if the goddess herself agrees with me. Light shines on me and my angles share panicked looks. What? I say as everyone looks at me. My own pack members gasp. Fishes drop out of their mouths. Someone wades through the crowd. Towards me. I squint my eyes to see properly in the blinding light that's surrounding me. Luke stands in front of me, eyes wide and disbelieving. You, his words echo in my head. You're my partner. 11. I'm a dead girl anyways. Everyone just stares at me and pin drops silence. This is bad. My good angle whispers frantically. Oh no. This is going to be fun. My bad angle chuckles sinister lie. I take a long swing of the champagne and put the bottle on the table. To my agent extraordinaire, Madeleine Nilban, heartfelt thanks for your unfailing patience, enthusiasm. My voice slurs a bit. What the hell is happening? Alpha JX steps forward. His hands are closed into tight fists and his face is tomato red. Two horns sprout from his head. I knew he was Satan. What are you doing here? He strides towards me like a mad bull on gazer won't allowed. The word Omega floats out of his mouth and towards the crowd. Whispers and gouts follow. Don't worry. I'm going. I wave dismissively. It was a waste of my time anyways. Is that? Oh my moon. That's my dress. Darky says. Eyes narrowed. You stupid. Stupid girl. Luna Faye glares at me. You should have never come here. The three of them start to advance me. I hold up my hands and step back. Hey, I told you I'm going. I say, why worry so much? You little. Alpha JX raises his hand. Fingers turned into claws and both my angles put their hands on their eyes while I stare wide-eyed as his hand moves towards me and stops, only inches away. Luke hisses quietly as he puts Alpha's hand down from the wrist. Don't be ridiculous. She's my partner. She's an Omega. Alpha JX yanks his hand away. She will only slow you down, and she broke the pack rules. She disobeyed her Alpha and Luna. Alpha JX. Ethan comes out of the crowd. I think you are aware that Luke wouldn't be allowed to participate without his partner. Alpha JX pinches the bridge of his nose and snorts in disbelief. Fire comes out of his nostrils. I wonder if it would have burnt his mustache if he had one. Guards. He barks and two pack warriors come hurrying towards him. Carlos is at my side in an instant. His angle wings flutter behind his back. Wait. Can werewolves have angle wings and a wolf? Take her away until we solve this matter. Alpha JX hisses to a pack warrior. Hey. Don't you bloody dare. I say as the man tries to grab my arm. If this is about me, then I ought to stay. Elise, Carlos whispers in my ear pleadingly, come on. Please. I want to make myself clear. I raise a hand and sway on my feet. I don't want to be your partner. Luke stares at me with dark blue storms in his eyes. He crosses his arms and looks down at me with a stern expression. Trust me, he says lowly. My thoughts are exactly the same. He turns to Carlos. Take her to her room. Don't let her out until further orders. Yes, Alpha. Carlos takes me by the elbow and starts dragging me to the stairs. I can't believe it. He mutters frantically as we climb the stairs. He had to put his arm around me to keep me straight. It's not like I can't walk. My legs just became purple jelly. I know it's sorely purple isn't even my color. He can't take you out there. Carlos goes on. That hunt is fatal for the Alphas too. You should have never come. You're right about that. Carlos stops. I look around the 9 corridors to find the source of the eerily familiar voice. Darky comes in view. Black smoke covers her like a dark aura. Bitch. My evil angle sneers. Go downstairs. Darky snaps at Carlos. I'll take her to the room. Carlos looks at her with suspicious eyes. Don't fret yourself. I will take her before going back. I said go. Darky sneers. I could almost hear the snap when Carlos' head bent down from the submission she forced. Please be okay, he whispers to me before turning around and grudgingly leaving. Darky grabs my arm. Her nails dig into my skin. Hey, let go. I try to free my arm. Slap. A gasp leaves my mouth. Something wet. Warm and red trickles down my lip. For one moment. I'm stone cold sober. I liken basic and kill a werewolf Omega as easily as snapping a twig. The next moment, I feel myself being dragged to some place at the farther end of the hallway. I realize it's the staircase that leads to the back of the house. Where are you taking me? I struggle against her hold, but her hands are made of iron. She's outside the house, dragging me along, going towards the Pack Warrior's residence. The empty house answers my protesting grunts with silent mocking, and soon enough, Darky stops. I will make sure I'm the one who kills you. She hisses under her breath and shoves me forward. I stumble into the dark, empty room. Or is it a public bathroom? I can imagine they smell just like this. I whirl around and see thick iron bars against the front wall. The dungeons. Open the door and face me. I try my best to rattle the bars, but they won't budge. Cowards. Think you're so strong by locking a girl up. Your superiority complex patience. The whole lot of you. Are you mad? My good angle shrieks they can kill you. Well, they're gonna kill her anyways. My bad angle shrugs. My voice echoes in the empty cells. The moonlight comes in through the tiny window. I shout and yell and try to break the bars, but in the end, my legs give away and I slid against the wall. Slowly, the falling pieces of my head come together. Realization settles in my bones like cold ice. I'm Luke's partner for the Alpha's hunt. The effect of the champagne dulls down quickly due to my werewolf genetics, and I find think through the haze of pain in my head. Damn hangovers. Oh no. They're going to kill me for getting chosen. They won't let Luke go with an Omega. I pace around the cell anxiously. Every plan that comes in my mind whirls away like smoke before the fact that I'm an Omega and this is the Alpha's hunt. What am I going to do? Kick. I jump to the sky as an ocean clasps on me. Get up. A Pack Warrior is standing over me. The Alpha wants to see you. Who doesn't? I get off the granite floor and sway a bit on my feet. I glance at the little window. It's almost sunrise. When I get out of the basement dungeons, Carlos' worried face greets me. I'll take it from here. Daryl, he says to the other Pack Warrior. As soon as he's gone, my bestie wraps me in a hug. I'm so sorry I couldn't help. He says I should have never let Darky get you. I tried to get to the Alpha to tell him, but all of them were in a meeting and I'm sorry. Putting both my arms around him as well, I know it's not your fault. Carlos pulls back and gingerly touches a finger to my cheek. I wince. Damn, that's a bad bruise. He cringes. Seems like Darky's sap left its mark. Come on. He puts an arm around me and leads me outside. The meeting's finally over. They want to see you. Are they about to kill me? Carlos doesn't answer. When we reach the mansion, the air is oddly still. Everything's quiet. Carlos takes me to the second floor towards the meeting room. Outside, by the door, I see a tall figure near the guards. The scent of coffee and pine trees drifts over to me, momentarily calming my racing nerves. Luke turns to face us. I see the weariness on his features, the dark rings under his eyes. Ruffled hair, unkempt stubble, his tie and suit jacket are gone, leaving only black shirt, the top two buttons of which are open. Luke glares at Carlos when we stop. He instantly takes his arm off me. What happened to her face? He asks tersely, looking threateningly at Carlos. Carlos opens his mouth to say something, but I beat him to it. Nothing of consequence. I say dismissively, let's get this over with. Without waiting for his answer, I go past him, guards, into the meeting room. Alpha JX, Luna Faye, Darky and Casper are sitting there. I notice the other chairs out of place. They weren't the only ones to discuss this. Luke comes inside and, uninvited, I sit in a chair across from his and his father's. Alpha JX scowls disapprovingly. Luna and Darky look at me from under their noses. Casper looks uncomfortable. So when is my execution? My voice so composed we could have just been talking over tea, unfortunately. Not now. Alpha JX growls. I raise an eyebrow and look at Luke, confusion. His dark blue eyes meet mine, swirling with thought. You're going on the hunt with me? I stare at him, wide-eyed. His words reach my brain. Not being accepted. You're going on the hunt. You're going on the hunt. I burst out laughing. Me on the Alpha's hunt. I say between my laughs, goddess. That's the worst joke ever. Luke narrows his eyes. This is not a joke. My laughter dies down. I look at him thoughtfully and cock my head to a side, weighing my options. Why ask? Because the rules are that every alpha will have a partner and he cannot participate without him. Casper says, or in this case, her. I stay quiet, chewing at my bottom lip while they stand up and turn to the door as if this is over so soon. Come, we have a lot of packing to do. Luke says without sparing me a glance. What if I refuse? They all stop. The air in the room stills. Tension swirls around me like heavy waves. What? Luke says, turning around slowly. Did you just say? I stand up and raise my chin, defying lie. What if I don't want to go with you? Alpha JX's face twists in a snarl. You will be executed. I shrug. If you don't kill me, I'll die on the hunt. And if I somehow survive, you'll kill me afterwards. Why should I even bother to go? This girl has lost her mind. Luna says indignantly. Took you long enough. I grin but instantly let it drop when my split lip hurts. Alpha JX glares at me with a red face, but before he has the chance to speak again, Luke beats him to it. Let me handle this, he says. But Luke, Darky protests. You. Everyone except for Casper. Leave the room. His command leaves no room for argument. With one last hateful glare at me, Darky leaves along Alpha and Luna. The tension in the room only increases. Do you want to die? Luke asks, crossing his arms across his chest. I don't particularly care. I mimic his expression and cross my arms. I'm a dead girl anyways. Why shouldn't I try to ruin all of yours peace too? Alice, you're not going to die. Luke will win, take you back and everything will be normal again. Casper says. I huff and flip my wet hair over my shoulder. Is that supposed to make me feel better? That Luke will win with Oi and I will just be an omega. Luke stares at me with intense dark blue eyes. I have to keep myself from squirming, but I know I've hit the right spot. Without me, he can't even participate, let alone win. What do you want? I grin widely this time, not caring about the pain. Hey you, pretty one over there. I call one of the guards at the door. He looks at me in confusion. Get me a glass of water and a few aspirins. The guard looks at Luke. He nods. I sit down in my chair, content lie. Luke walks over to me. I look up at his scowl with a smile. Now we're getting somewhere. What do you want? He grits out. A www, Don't be like that. I coos off, it's just a tiny thing. A little contract. Luke and Casper exchange a look. Then both of them stare at me suspiciously. The guard come back. Thank you. I chuck down the pills and water, glad to put something in my parched throat where we were. Oh yeah. The contract. When I look at Luke and Casper again, all humor washes off my face. I want to leave the pack. To our agent extraordinaire, Madeline Nilban. Heartfelt thanks for your unfailing patience, enthusiasm. I want to be able to leave without being exiled. My voice comes out stronger than expected, and I want to take my mom with me. Luke glares at me, his expression livid. What would you even do? Oh, you know. Get a job like humans. Get paid. Find a little place to live. Get more jobs. Invest the saved money in the bank and get more money. Slowly make enough money to start my own business. None of your concern. I say calmly, but that is my condition. And if we don't do that? Casper asks. Oh well. I shrug and put the glass on the table. I stand up and skip towards the window. I open it and look down. It seems high enough. I put one leg out. Trust me, it's weird when you dress. And then, someone plucks me off the windowsill by my waist and puts me back on my feet. What are you doing? Luke glares down at me, his hands still in a deadlock on my waist. I'm throwing myself out of the window and saving all of us the trouble of an execution. I grin, it's pretty generous on my part. He narrows his eyes at me. Heavy silence envelops the room. Luke stares at me with his intense blue eyes. A war going on in them. On one side, his victory, and on the other side, well, me, as demeaning as it is. The choice should be obvious. Finally he lets go of me, opens his mouth, and his deep voice reaches my ears. Get the contract, he says, but his eyes stay on me. I accept the conditions. 12. Unexpected. When I leave the meeting room, Carlos takes me back to where I was originally supposed to be, my room. While we go, I tell Carlos about what I did. Brilliant plan. Carlos mutters quietly, so. What now? Honestly, I never thought he'd make it this far. I mutter back, what? He gives me an alarmed look. So you just decided to move out without knowing what you actually intend to do. My mind goes back to the plan I thought of was in the meeting room. But all of that feels so far away. So unreal. I won't need a plan if I end up dead. I say quietly. We stop in front of my room. Well, Luke's room. Mine is inside it. Elise, listen to me, Carlos says, putting his hands on my shoulders. If anyone is capable of pulling this off. I roll my eyes. Really? Yes, really. He grins at me. You're the only werewolf who can blackmail her alpha. Luna and Alpha too, be to do what you want to. You're the only Omega who can look a higher rank in the eye. You're the only one who's reckless enough to sneak into the Crescent Moonball. You can do this. I know you can. Tears brim in my eyes and I sniffle, offering him a wobbly smile. You amazing moron. I throw my arms around his neck. You're the best buddy I could ever ask for. Carlos laughs as he hugs me back. Elise, are you crying? I'm not crying. I defend myself. My eyes are sweating. I pull away and wipe my eye, sweat before giving him the classic Elise, got this smile. Carlos leaves me in my room. Now that the ceremony is over, everyone has to go back to Minneapolis. I sigh in relief as I step into the shower, washing off the dirt from yesterday. What the hell am I going to tell Mom? I leave my wet hair hanging as I change into a comfy sweater and shorts. I really hope Mom wouldn't kill me for doing this. But after all these years, we're going to be free. We can work for our own selves and we can keep our dignity. I look out of my window, at the bright blue sky, at the birds chirping as they fill the air. So alive, so free. All over this world, in every pack, Ongiza are harassed, degraded and hell, even abused. Why? Because we can't alter our bloodlines. Because we can't be good enough. My hands close into fist. If only I could change that. If only I could convey this message to all those Ongiza that they matter. Even if they aren't as authoritative as an alpha, as composed as a beta, as strong the warriors,
They still matter.
A knock on the door snaps me out of my thoughts. A moment later, Luke enters, a file in his hand. To my agent extraordinaire, wildest, heartfelt thanks for your unfailing patience, enthusiasm. Holding it out for me your contract. In a dream, in a daze, I take the document that will ensure my freedom. Luke doesn't let go. I look up at him, eyebrow raised. Just as usual. If you take this, he says there's no going back. You'll have to leave the pack. I try to pull the file. He still wouldn't let go. I know what I'm doing. Do you? Luke steps closer. A hint of anger leaks in his voice. Do you have any idea what you do without a roof over your head and food in your stomach? This is insane. To my agent extraordinaire, wildest, heartfelt thanks for your unfailing patience, enthusiasm. I consider his words for a moment. You're right. Maybe I should demand some money too. I nod. Luke throws his hands up in the air, looking heavenwards, as if asking the goddess why he was paired with me. Pack your bags. We're leaving in the evening. Luke closes the door behind Hard. I flinch at the loud bang. What is up with him? Mad that I didn't turn out to be a pathetic female. Or that I'm his partner. I huff as I read my contract. And despite Luke being mad at me, I can't help the smile that tugged at my lips when I read my freedom ticket. In the evening, I enter Luke's room, all packed. A GS at his desk, looking through the damn book he'd gotten after so much effort. I'm done, I say as I plop myself on his bed. He nods, turning the page of his book. My eyes stay glued to his hand. Luke's eyebrows furrow as his stormy eyes swim over the text. His hold on the little book tightens. With a sigh, he drops it on the table. Luke, I stay. Not sure if I should be talking. What? On your hands. Still looking at his hands there. I trail off. Luke turns his stormy blue eyes to my objective interest. Luke goes still. His eyes stay on his claws, frighteningly long, razor sharp. In the blink of an eye, he goes out of the room. Sometimes, when lichens or werewolves feel angry or threatened, they retreat into their wolf form for show of dominance or for protection. I stare at the door. Then I bolt to his desk and pick the book up. Achidi dropped it face down. So the page is still the one he was reading. Whoever holds the title of the Alpha Supreme is granted unexplainable power by the Moon Goddess. A ceremony takes place after the Alpha's hunt, and the worthy Alpha is presented to the full moon. After this ceremony, the next Alpha Supreme will only be chosen when the previous declares his reign to be over, or 10 years later. During the next hunt, the power of the Alpha Supreme is to rule over lichens and werewolves alike. His will, body and soul are unbreakable. Furrowing my brows, I put the book back. There's nothing upsetting about it. Why did Luke's body start to shift? How long until we get back? I asked John, our driver to the back house. Again, a little while. You've been saying that since the moment we came from the airport into this godforsaken vehicle. I say, he doesn't answer. With a huff, I lean back into the little space I have on the back seat of the car. If I were my choice, it'd shift and run back to the house. Okay, Elise. Think of the best way you can break this news to Mom. Goddess, it's almost as if I'm about to tell her I'm pregnant. Hey Mother, how are you? I'm exceptionally good, especially since I'm going on the Alpha's hunt. Usually all the Alphas or Betas go there, but you know me. I couldn't help myself. So Cassie, the blonde Omega beside me, clears her throat. Are you really going on the hunt? Yup. I say, and did you really sneak into the ball? Totally did. That was very brave of you. She gives me a small smile. Thanks. I grin, but I did get stuck with this hunt for it. No Omega has ever gone on anything so important before. She murmurs so. I just wanted to say that I'm really proud of you. I smile, thank you. A wolf jumps on the windshield. A scream rips past my mouth as the car skids to a stop. Panic fills the air as growls echo all around. The door of the car suddenly opens and a foul stench reaches my nose as a man enters my vision. To my agent extraordinaire, Muslin Nobel, heartfelt thanks for your unfailing patience, enthusiasm. He flashes his yellow teeth on Gazer. This is going to be fun. He grabs Cassie by the arm and pulls her out just as the other door opens and someone pulls out the Omega guy on my left. Hey, I protest in vain when two big arms wrap around me and pull me out. I find myself held tightly by the mountain of a rouge. Around us, 7 or maybe 8 rouges. Against 5 on Gazer. The other cars were already ahead of us. They won't be able to reach us on time. Oh goodness. Round em up. One man bellows as he knocks the living daylights out of John. I want a hunting contest. Oh no. The man who degraded Cassie grins at her keeping this one alive. She whimpers, tears already pooling in her eyes. My eyes widen. I look around frantically. John's out cold. Like a gnome Gazer can hardly shift anyways. The other guy and girl with us look is fainting despite the other girl's screams. I don't see any help. Do something, you idiot. Do something. In one reckless movement, I bite the arm of the man holding me. More from shock than from pain. He lets go with a yelp. The sound of bones snapping and reshaping meets my ears, and the next moment I'm tackling down the rouge who was holding Cassie. Teeth sinking into his arm. All around me, wolves are snarling and growling. The man it tackled down also shifts. His huge brown wolf easily knocks off my little white one. I back away, ears flat on my head. Bloody teeth bad but fair to many. Too strong. This is it. Not mine. Not my recklessness. Not the Alpha's hunt, but this is what's going to kill me. A bunch of rouges. Great plot twist fate. Really great. A wolf lunges at me. I brace myself for action, but before I had the chance, something else stops it. Something like a man and a wolf. An 8-foot-tall beast. They can, soon enough. The forest around me fills with howls, growls and the smell of blood. I slip through the chaos, running full speed towards the pack house. My body starts to feel weary. My legs slow down and soon enough I fall to my knees, forcefully shifting in my human form since Gazer are too weak to stay in wolf form for long. Huffing and sweating, I spit out the remaining tears of blood from my mouth. I will myself to keep going. Finally, Luke's tortuous exercise is coming in handy. Only a few steps further. I stumble back, staring wide-eyed at the black wolf in front of me. The wolf bares its teeth at me, but just as I focus on my face, bones snap and reshape, and I'm left staring at a stout, middle-aged man with a scared face. His green eyes stare at me in a mix of awe and disbelief. I back away, searching my mind for an escape. When he speaks, his gruff voice doesn't surprise me half as much as his words, Juliet. What? My mouth betrays me the reality of the situation hits him. His hounds turn into claws. Canines elongate, but before he could shift, a hand closes around his neck from behind and snap. He falls on the forest bed. Unmoving, blood pools out from his mouth. My eyes fly up to meet familiar stormy blue ones. Luke walks around the body, over to me. His hands fall on my shoulders. They travel down my arms to my hands, causing my heart to squirm in its place. What are you words die at my tongue when he's warm? Calloused hands cup my face. He leans forward, so close that I can see the storm in his dark blue gaze. So close I can feel his warm breath on my face. Luke, a little whisper leaves my mouth as hush. He says quietly, let me. Luke turns my face to one side, then the other. Realization, it's me like a brick in the face. If you wanted to know, I'm okay. I snap. Moving away from him, you could have just asked. And believe you. He raises an eyebrow, you jerk. I jab a finger at his chest, feeling my face warm up from embarrassment. I thought you were about to. What? Luke raises both his eyebrows, trying to act clueless. Before I could give him a piece of my mind, he starts towards the direction I just came from. Get to the house. He says firmly, "I'll be right back." I gather my scattering wits and dignity before I start running again. And finally, I reach the pack house. Sweetie, are you sure you're right? Mom asks me for the millionth time. All the Rouges were killed. 2 pack members were killed. The night sky's high above our heads and I am in bed with my mother fussing about me. Mom, I say just as she's about to get me more chicken soup, yes. During the attack, I start quietly. A Rouge said something to me. I look at her worried face and take a deep breath. He called me Juliet. The bowl in my mother's hands crashes on the floor and breaks it to a million pieces. 13. The hunt begins. You were what? I sputter. I was a Rouge. Mom sighs, tracing the hem of her apron. I stare at her expectantly, waiting for her to continue this. Mom never told me much of her life before my dad, and frankly, I never thought I should ask about it. We were a pack of Rouges. She glances at me, a very notorious one at that. But then, how did you find Dad? I met Elijah when we were attacking their pack. Mom's face flushes scarlet and he plucked me straight from the battlegrounds. I was stubborn and I wouldn't admit. I was afraid. But your father was the beta, so the pack let us be. I stare at my mother and try my very best, but... Oh wow. I tackle Mom in a hug that is so cute. You and Dad have an amazing love story. Why didn't you ever tell me before? Elise? Dear, calm down. Mom pats me on the head. There's more of it. I pull away and nod at her to continue. My pack thought they were keeping me hostage. Mom said they attacked again, and even when they found out that I've met my mate, they wanted me to come along. My eyebrows knot together. Why? Mom looks down. A shadow crosses her face. Their leader and I, we were in love. I gape at her. Confusion races across my mind. I remember all the times she told me of how much she loved Dad and what. I breathe out. Elise, sweetie, please understand. Mom takes my hands in hers. A note of desperation leaks in her voice. I was a Rouge. There was so little chance of me finding my mate. Of course I would go to a man who claimed he loved me. But when I met you, Father, it was almost as if I'd never thought of anyone else. He knew everything, but he loved me anyways. I breathe a sigh of relief. Thank universe. And when Warren found out that I've been brainwashed, he tried to take me back. It was a lot of bloodshed, Mom says, but then we were about to have you and everything was perfect, but... Mom purses her lips, and even after all these years, tears still gather in her eyes. Hey, Mom. I hug her around the shoulders and press my cheek to her. Hey, you're a badass. Remember, you don't cry. We stayed at that for a few minutes. And as quietly, do you think it was them whom? Mom sucks in a sharp breath. I don't know. She turns to me and puts her hands on my shoulders, a stern look on her face. Elise, now listen to me carefully. She says, don't make the same mistake I did. Sweetie, never lose hope that your mate will find you. Never turn to another man. She turns her face away. A look of so much pain and guilt crosses her face. I'm tempted to rip it away from her. I take her hand and press a kiss to it, holding it tightly in both of mine. I'll wait for him. I say, I promise. Mom gives me a little smile and strokes me head. I pray every night that you find him soon. I smile, Mom. Yes, sweetie. There's a little something I have to tell you. Elise Marie Atwood. You have no idea what you have gotten into. I cringe. All that sass and coolness I felt while blackmailing Luke and Casper goes down the drain and leaves a petty feeling of being in trouble. But Mom, I whined. They were making it so tempting. Elise, this is not a joke. Mom says sternly the Alpha's hunt is a suicide mission. And I'm a parrot. I roll my eyes. Mom, come on. You know I got this. Mom purses her lips and glares at me. She turns her face away and I realize just how tired she looks. I don't want to lose my baby. She says quietly, not to this. Not to anything else. Mom, I put my hands on her shoulders. You can't always protect me and keep me sheltered. In the end, all of us are on our own. She lets out a wobbly smile. I never knew you can talk like an adult. I smile. And you also don't know that I can't survive this. Now come on. We have packing to do. Where are we? I ask as Luke stops the car at the starting line. He says as he gets out. I quickly take off my seatbelt and follow him out of the car. I see about 18 or 20 other cars. all parked in front of a forest. As I look around the participants, I realize I'm the only female around. Great. Luke goes through the crowd. Even Alphys, the most ridiculously egoistic people alive, step out of his way. Why am I grinning like an idiot? I look ahead trying to figure out where we are going and see a hunched figure near to big oak trees. I narrow my eyes to see better and then falter in my steps. Bright yellow eyes turn our way, while yellow eyes turn our way, while yellow and gold teeth are displayed in a grin. Oh, I've been waiting for you. To my agent extraordinaire, Madeleine Nilbe. Heartfelt thanks for your unfailing patience, enthusiasm. The witch says Luke narrows his eyes just a millimeter. K.O. are wrong. He nods. How are you? Old and balding. I'm happy to hear that. The witch takes out her wand. A little stick with a glowing amber gem at the base. She pokes Luke in the guts hard. Be careful, boy. Though her voice is still streaky and old, her eyes have a dangerous glint while our time is running out. Just put on the spell, woman. Luke growls lowly. The witch smiles cruelly. Why? You don't need it anyway. Luke glances at me and then glares at her. She cackles. She waves her wand at him. Silver threads wrap around his neck and vanish in a moment. The witch turns to me. Hello, dearie. Good to see you again. I see Luke stiffen and glance at me once before looking away. Nice to meet you too. K.O.R. I smile. Trying to ease my nerves. Don't worry. It doesn't hurt. She grinned. Not me anyway. She waves her wand. Threads of silver come out and wrap around my throat. Breath gets stuck in my windpipe and my fingers turn to claws. Blinded by the overwhelming burn again my throat. I bring my hands up to claw the threads away, but something catches them. Something warm and callous. My watery eyes meet stormy blue ones as Luke steps in my line of sight. To my agent extraordinaire, Madeleine Nilben. Heartfelt thanks for your unfailing patience, enthusiasm. He says in a voice that's almost gentle, look at me. Focus on me. I try. I try to focus on his face. On the sweep of his strong jaw. The curve of his lips. The angle of his cheekbones. The slant of his nose, but what makes me focus are his eyes. People say eyes are the windows of the soul. If that's true, then there's a storm going on in his soul. Wild. Chaotic. Unstoppable. The pain on my neck stops. I snatch my hands away from Luke and drop my burning throat. The hell was that lady? I rasp. I locked by Werewolf. To my agent extraordinaire, Madeleine Nilben. Heartfelt thanks for your unfailing patience, enthusiasm. The witch says now SCR. I have other things to do. We walk away from her and I can't help but wonder about what she said to Luke. Why didn't you feel pain during the spell? I ask him. Luke shrugs. It's different for different ranks. I nod, not really believing him, but I let him be. Soon enough a pair of men give all the doers one map of the forest. Luke takes out our bags from the car when another alpha comes by. He looks at me up and down. I scowl and turn away. I vaguely remember him from a winter feast. Alpha Jordan. Hey Winters. Resting his hand against the doorway, maybe you'd want to trade her for a while. Luke stares at his face in fear at me. Then he slams the car door shut with Alpha Jordan's hand still in it. Alpha Jordan lets out a string of curse words and I stifle out while he pulls his hand out. If you don't want to share, just say so. He glares at Luke, while Luke dismisses him with cool and composed insults, and he argues in dumb and passionate nothings. Someone taps my shoulder. Hey, Ethan offers me a little smile. Hello, Ethan. Awkward as I remember our last interaction, can I talk to you for a second? He asks. I glance at Luke. He's already looking our way, but just as my eyes meet his, he turns away. I ignore the sinking feeling in my chest. Sure. We walk a little away, both silent and awkward. About last time both of us stop and smile sheepishly. I'm sorry that. Both of us stop again and I laugh, feeling the awkwardness lift. Go on, I say to Ethan. I'm sorry if you ever felt that I'm pitiful of you. He said seriously. I respect you. I respect your independence and your courage. I never want you to think I'm looking down at you. I stare at him dumbfounded. I'm sorry too. I say I was upset and I overreacted. So truce. He smiles and puts out his hand. We shake. Feeling my spirits lift, I walk back to Luke just as another car comes by and all the participants line up. We do the same. A man steps out of the car and I feel a boatload of power spring in the air. I glance at the man with salt and pepper hair and dark grey eyes. All the alphas and betas look tense till my legs are ready to give up. Realization dawns to me. The Alpha Supreme. Welcome, hunters. His voice is loud and clear. I wish all of you good luck. Keep the rules in your minds and the goddess in your hearts. He takes out a bull's horn-like thing and blows air in it. It sounds like a war alarm. The hunt begins now. For teen laws of curiosity, everyone starts running. I take a step forward, but Luke grabs my arm. I look back at him, but he just shakes his head. What are you doing? I raise my eyebrows. Everyone else is getting ahead. Luke takes 2 bags, puts one on each of his shoulders and leaves the bigger 2 on the ground. It's a hunt, not a race. He says pick those up and follow behind. Luke starts for the furthest side of the forest. I huff and pick up one of the bags only to fall back on the ground. You might want to be careful. A deep voice drifts to my ears. You don't have werewolf strength anymore. What? What do you mean? Barely able to keep up with him. When KO avoid your wolf, she locked a lot of other things too. Luke says, eyes on the map. By that I mean any possible advantage of being a werewolf. So we have nothing left. I ask in horror. No speed or strength or smell or anything. Of course I do. Luke says what? I furrow my brows. He's not making any sense. I'm an alpha. You're an omega. As if that settles it. My sharp reply vanishes on my tongue as a wave of cold crashes over me. I shudder a little and glance up at the towering trees. What was that? I mutter more to myself than to Luke. We've entered the forest. Luke says, striding forward now. There's no going back. I look back at the clearing where everyone left their cars. Hesitantly, I hold out a hand and reach forward. My hand brushes against something cold and gel-like. An invisible wall. I try to push my hand through it, but pull back as the burning cold starts traveling up my arm. Come on. To my agent extraordinaire, Madeline Nilban. Heartfelt thanks for your unfailing patience, enthusiasm. Luke says from ahead coming. With one last glance at the planes we left behind, I turn around and hurry after him. Now there's no going back. We didn't talk much, just walked further and further. I didn't see any apparent danger that could kill us by now. Luke? He grunts in response. As much as I hate to say this, we can't through the whole forest on the first day. I know. Then why aren't we stopping? Luke looks back at me with hooded, dark blue eyes and a bored face. If you'd walk faster, we could cover the required distance quick. I'm not used to carrying this much weight. I can't get used to this much walking. So I do. I walk and don't talk and keep walking until the day bleeds into night and my sore legs are ready to collapse on the ground. Can't we stop for a while? I whine. Luke looks up at the sky that's almost pitch black now and then drops his bags on the ground. Make a fire, he says, and my eyes widen. What? To cook food. Crossing his arms. I don't know how to do that. I say you're an omega. He deadpans and, you're a girl. Yes, what about it? That's literally your job. To make food, so you should know how to make a fire. Luke, I know you haven't been to the pack estate in a long time, but our pack house has stoves. I roll my eyes. Luke looks heavenwards and drags a hand down his face, murmuring something that's probably a prayer. I huff and cross my arms. He's acting as though having certain female parts allows me to snap my fingers and tar-dar. Everything's on fire. Luke turns around and starts walking. Where are you going? I call after him. He stops and turns around to collect firewood. So, do you know how to make a fire? He narrows his stormy eyes at me and all but bites out yes. Luke disappears behind the trees. So, what should I do now? My eyes land on our backs. One is mine. The other 3 are Luke's. I glance back at the trees and then grab a bag. Let's see what we've been carrying. One bag has clothes and food supplies that can be carried without rotting. One has a sleeping bag and the last one. That's the biggest. The one I was carrying. Holy cows. I look over the sharp weapons with wide eyes. Guns. Daggers. Ropes, and the moon knows how many bullets. I hold up a gun. The cool metal presses against my palm. I've always wondered how they work. Call me crazy, but when I was a kid I wanted so badly to learn how to shoot. What are you going? Bang. Oh. What the hell did you do? Luke's eyes widen. What? What did I do? I asked, geekly panicked. Now goddess knows how many things know where we are. It was an accident. I defend. And who allowed you to go through my bags? He narrows his eyes at me. Knolls of curiosity. I shrug. With a low growl, Luke snatches the gun from my hand and puts it back in the bag. Shoves in a pile of firewood before zipping it and throwing it in my lap. Get up. We're moving on. He says. What? My eyes widen. Maybe you laws of curiosity didn't say. He snaps, but curiosity kills the cat. Or in this case, us. Now get up. Why universe? Why me? So I take 2 bags and start walking behind the douchebag. Almost taking baby steps. After a few hours, finally Luke stops and I fall on my knees and kiss the ground. Okay. Maybe I just fought on my knees. Luke makes a fire and we cook ourselves some food on the flames. I don't think eating has ever felt so good before. Or maybe I think that every time. Later at night, Luke takes out his sleeping bag. I decide to do the same. Heavens. I'm tired. Wait a minute. What are you up to? Luke's sleeping. To my agent extraordinaire, Madeleine Nilben. Heartfelt thanks for your unfailing patience, enthusiasm. I tell him, who told you you're sleeping? He raises an eyebrow. Why wouldn't I? I furrow my eyebrows. You will stay awake and keep guard. Luke says, am I GW, AK at him against what? I asked incredulously. Other hunters. Why, I ask. Luke leans forward. His hair is messy. His clothes simple and eyes stormy as always. In flickering light of the flames, he looks more handsome and human than I've ever seen him. Why do you think so many die on this hunt? His warm breath sends a shiver down my spine. They kill each other. My eyes widen. Luke nods and leans back. So don't you dare fall asleep. Why do I have to keep watch? I ask. Why don't you? I made the fire. To my agent extraordinaire, Madeleine Nilben. Heartfelt thanks for your unfailing patience, enthusiasm. Luke simply closes his eyes. I didn't bring you here to carry you around. You have to carry your share of the team. I open my mouth to argue but close it again. I'm not on a picnic. I'm on a suicide mission. So I sigh in defeat and stand against a tree, keeping my ears focused on any sound.